Hey everyone, welcome to the M&R show. I'm Ron,
Now, Malcolm.
and today we're doing draft rumors. I mean, it's a lot of draft rumors. I feel like with this draft because there's no combine, so we wanted just to get into it. So our first one, we're gonna be talking about Justin Fields fall down the draft board. Malcolm.
Yeah, I think one main reason why I've heard, from draft analysts and stuff like that, they talked about his work ethic. I know there's some people who say that this is all not true, that he has amazing work ethic. Ryan Day came out and spoke and said that Justin Fields has amazing work ethic. He wants to shut down all rumors about him not having work ethic. But one thing that we got to understand is the big thing that you think of a guy like Justin Fields, he came from Ohio State, and you look at the Ohio State quarterbacks in the past. They haven't been successful in the NFL level. They understand that, Justin Fields is that different type of player, but at the end of the day, he is still that same quarterback that was Dwayne Haskins and the past quarterbacks behind him. With guys like in Ryan Day's offense. Ryan Day's offense is very good for college, but going to the NFL, these quarterbacks haven't been able to develop the way that NFL franchises would like to. So I think that's one of the big reasons going on with Justin Fields' fall is based on the level of history of these Ohio State quarterbacks.
Yeah, I feel like if you're a GM, it's no way I'm looking at what the heck somebody else did at school if I draft somebody, especially a quarterback, maybe a lineman, and even that's lazy. But you just can't use that because, I get it, but any day Ryan Day is a good coach. It's not like he's a bad coach. Dwayne Haskins didn't play out. He also played for the Washington Redskins. Who the heck has in the last 30 years? So that's also the sample size you're using is a terrible sample size. It's like something like, oh, he worked off of the Jets. No one has. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you could use that. Work ethic is I'm not even gonna get into it. That's insane. Clearly he has a great work ethic. He should have beat out Jake Fromm at Georgia, which he did, and they still chose Jake Fromm. He should have never won that job in Georgia. Everyone knows that, and he's from Georgia. So that was all. He already started his career off being doubted. So I literally have no idea. I probably have had some takes about it, like I didn't like the guy. I just don't like him as the number 2 QB. I think he's the unanimous 3 QB, or at least he should be. Or I even understand some people making him as a 2, so I really don't understand the fall.
Yeah.
All right, our next is Penei Sewell. He's somehow now in a fall down the draft board. I can start this one. I really don't understand. I think he's really a top 3 prospect in this draft, if we're being 100% honest. So I literally couldn't say. I think the only reason is because there's rumors right now that the Bengals are thinking about not taking him because Burrow gave a suggestion. So I guess Burrow now has more power in his organization than Aaron Rodgers does in Green Bay. So, that's probably problem number 1 just right there. So I would hope that the GM is not, you can listen, I get it, but come on, bro. You the GM, you got to save your own self at this point. So I feel like you just look at it, you take what you think your team value, what your team's going to value the most. So that's all I would say about Penei Sewell.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think that Sewell is the number 1 player on their board. But I think that if a guy like if Chase was able to slide down, you have Cincinnati, which is in a fire pan or in a situation where they have to look at 2 different players, as a guy as Sewell or a guy as in Chase. And I think they were going to choose Chase because they didn't really think a guy like Chase will be able to come slide down the boards. But I think that Sewell is going to be able to be picked 5th or 6th. I think that I think either the Eagles are probably going to pick him up. I know 12 will be a little bit too far down. I think Miami might look at him or stuff like that. And I think Cincy, if Chase is already picked up, I think that Cincy's going to definitely get Sewell first at their number 1, to be honest.
All right, now next one is Jeremiah Owusu Koramoah a linebacker or a safety? It's been a big debate on, is this guy even a linebacker? He didn't run the 40 at his pro day because they say he tried to add 10, 15 pounds. I think he was only still like 220, 223. And they say he didn't run because he tried to add weight at 220. So, Malcolm.
Yeah, Jeremiah, he's a very good athlete. He's that type of inside linebacker that's very versatile, but we have to look at the same guy that we thought about last year in Isaiah Simmons and how a struggle of what Arizona was able to, handle with him, especially since he's so small to be an everyday linebacker, every down linebacker. But he has the size to be a safety, but not maybe as fast or maybe have, the comfortability that as a safety would, who have done that the whole entire college. So I think that a guy like Jeremiah, it's going to be hard for a guy like Jeremiah because you really have to scheme Jeremiah open. You know, you can't just tell him to do this and expect him to do it all game. You really have to scheme him open to free him opportunities because he really is not going to be very good for your run defense. He will be good for your pass defense. But other than that, if somebody gets a hold of Jeremiah, that's it. That's it. But the point is, a defense, Jeremiah has to be fit towards a good defense that's going to be able to scheme guys open. The Chargers head coach, what he did in LA, I think that he did a very good job scheming guys open. I think Chargers may give him a look, maybe if he slips to the second round, but we'll see about that too.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, he's just a scheme fit. I think he's a linebacker. I don't think he's a safety. He probably could be a strong safety. He's probably really an outside linebacker. Like Malcolm said, he just needs fat boys in front of him. It's really just that basic. He just needs a fat boy in front of him to take up space. Just let him run. It's literally just that easy. New England is the absolute perfect fit for him because they always have a nose tackle that's at least 330 pounds. Because they understand what the Dante Hightowers were, when Jamie Collins was there. Those guys are rangy. They are versatile players. Even Kyle Van Noy, who ended up gaining like 20 pounds in New England, but he started off as like a small linebacker. But they always have these guys taking up space and letting these guys run in space. So I think he's a fit in a scheme like that. Okay, now we have this Mac Jones rise. That's probably Baker Mayfield-esque. I wouldn't say that because Baker was thought of as at least a top 15 pick before he rose number one. This guy I thought was literally maybe a second round pick before like the mock draft stuff came around. So I'm really surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised too. I especially hearing reports about, you know, San Francisco trading all the way up to number 3 to pick a guy like Mac Jones. I mean, if you look at Mac Jones in his tape, you see some good things. You see a guy that's moving around in the pocket, a guy that has a above average, you know, arm strength, a guy that is a leader, especially when players talk about they'd rather have Mac Jones over Tua. So, you know, you see like the energy that he brings, especially the talent that's on the field. But there's just a lot of questions that you have to ask for a guy like Mac Jones, who is not as athletic, you know, as these quarterbacks are coming out in the draft right now. Another thing is we always talked about Trey Lance, and in his experience, this is Mac Jones' only year starting. And then, you know, he has off the field issues too. So there's just a lot of questions surrounding, you know, Mac Jones that, you know, it's crazy how he's able to, you know, high jump everybody off the board, especially a guy like Trey Lance, who, you know, has the same amount of experience as him, but the better arm talent, the better, you know, athleticism and stuff like that. But I guess being in the offense where you have all these, you know, top 5, top 10 draft pick wide receivers, it helps a guy like Mac Jones, like it did Joe Burrow last year.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Like, I've never seen this happen prior in the draft. Maybe Blaine Gabbert, but even that, Blaine was kind of hyped coming out. This guy was not hyped. Like, I never heard one time the whole lot of football say, man, this guy Mac Jones, man, I'm telling you. Like, I mean, maybe people say, like, you know, he'll do good enough, but it was never about him. He did have I think he had the number 1 like pass rate in the history of college football. Yeah, something crazy like that. Yeah, but then his receiver also had the best receiver as a receiver in college football. So it's like a win-win, lose-lose. Every way you look, it's always a win-win, is lose-lose for this guy. I really don't think he's a first-round pick. That doesn't mean he's not good. It just means that he hasn't shown that he's a first-round pick. He's never trailed in a game in his career. Never in the fourth quarter. Like, he's never trailed. So you could be like, oh, I mean, he's never trailed, but he also never faced adversity. You don't want nobody who's never faced adversity. That's like, you know, that's like the rich kid versus middle class poor kid type argument. Like, we know if we put this guy in the gauntlet, this guy has never been in a situation where he's had to, you know, go through hard times. So it's hard, especially in the NFL. And especially, I guess San Francisco's a big team, so it wouldn't be that hard of a adjustment. I think he'll still be good if they take him, but I think it'll still be a reach.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I mean, the one thing that they probably said about Mac Jones was about his IQ and the testing and how it compares like it was Tom Brady. But I mean, you put any quarterback with a, you know, offensive coordinator or a play caller like Kyle Shanahan, it's good things happen anyway. It doesn't matter who you are, to be honest.
Yeah, the best analogy I heard so far was Mac Jones is like when you think you're buying a Benz truck and you're really buying a RAV4 Toyota. So it's like, I mean, very, very, very reliable truck. But you thought you were getting a Benz, with what you paid.
Yeah.
So that's the best I heard. And the last one we have, well, we really have two last ones, but the Jaycee Horn one I feel like needs to be addressed because, I mean, Alec is the first guy I really heard really talk about him. Now he's dang near, what do you say, half the Scouts #1 corner. I mean, Farley was, but you can't have 2 back surgeries. That's all I'm saying. But 21 years old, you having back surgery, it's not a good look. So now this guy has went past Farley, and on some board, even gone past Sertan. What do you think about Jaycee Horn and his rise?
Yeah, so I was just watching some tape before, and I mean, he has a good tape. I mean, I guess the measurables, he killed the pro day. And since he's killed the pro day, it really has gone him up because he's a 6'1" corner who can be able to do a lot of things. And he's man-to-man. Well, that's his strength, man-to-man. He could do a little bit of zone, but his strength is really man-to-man. I think one thing that you have to worry about with Jaycee Horn is tackling. Tackling was really the biggest issue for Jaycee Horn his whole entire college career. He missed a lot of tackles. So I just think that's something that we really have to understand. But Jaycee Horn, he's a good prospect. I don't really think that he should be top 2 because Caleb Farley is still a good prospect. But at the end of the day, he does have these back surgeries that he got to recover from, and especially that he wasn't playing last year. So that's another thing that we have to look at. But Jaycee Horn has a lot of potential, and I don't mind his potential at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a really good player. My question with him and Sertan, well, I didn't think they were that athletic, but they both ranked as 90th percentile athletes. So the tape was already an A+. So I said, oh, no, this guy, I get it, because this guy's cute CB1 tape, but he just didn't look that fast on tape. So I'm like, I mean, it's Tyreek Hill's in the league, it's the Robbie Andersons, but I mean, you test as a 90th percentile athlete with everything, everything with size, speed, vertical, all that combined, you are a 90th percentile athlete. I think the athleticism questions were overblown, even by myself. So I mean, he's not my CB1, but definitely probably CB2 I don't think probably should be a top 20 pick based on the injuries anymore. So I think what do you think? His ceiling is probably Dallas, but his floor is probably like 15th New England. Like, I don't think he really falls. This guy, I don't think he's falling past 15. He's probably not going to go higher than 10. He's somewhere in that range.
Yeah, he's somewhere in the range because he's a press corner, and a lot of guys will love to have press corners, and especially if Caleb Farley, Nick Farley, if he's able to be able to get picked up early, it's going to be able to have Jaycee Horn be able to pick up later on in the round, so it can be better value for some teams. So I think it's going to work.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, that's all that we have today. Thanks to all for tuning into this episode. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at M&R Show. Malcolm.
Hey guys, I appreciate your support. Make sure you continue on supporting. Y'all guys have a great rest of the day.
All right.
See you.